In the fickle world of Hollywood, it's just as easy for a star to rise to fame as it is for them to fall out of the public's good graces. A couple of box office flops, some personal issues, or just the decision to take time off could spell career disaster. Some combination of these factors have led these actors to experience life in the cold shadow of their once towering celebrity status. Hayden Christensen. 2 words. The prequels. Even if his performance was award-winning, spoiler alert, it wasn't just the association with the universally panned Star Wars trilogy. Episodes 1 to 3 would have been enough to stain Hayden Christensen's resume. Just ask Natalie Portman. Christensen was actually doing some of the best work of his career in between shooting the prequels, like his moving performance in Life as a House 2001 and his emotionally complex portrayal as disgraced reporter Stephen Glass in Shattered Glass 2003, but nobody cared about any of that after listening to Anakin Skywalker whine about how much he hates sand. When his turn to the dark side was complete, Christensen's string of duds began. After 3 years of eviscerating reviews and even worse box office results, Christensen pulled the plug, bought a farm, got married, and had a kid. To his credit, he told the Los Angeles Times that he felt he owed too much of his stardom to the Star Wars movies and that he knew the potential career risks of taking time off, but he did it anyway to see if he could come back afterward and claw his way back in. After 5 years, he made his return with 90 Minutes in Heaven 2015, which currently sits at a 24% on Rotten Tomatoes and has a box office return of just under its $5 million budget. Does that farm Christensen bought have any sort of claw-sharpening equipment? Because he's going to need it. Sean William Scott. The star-making role of Steve Stifler in the American Pie movie series 1999 to 2012 is something of a double-edged sword for Sean William Scott. On one hand, he made a career out of playing a character who by all rights should have been reviled but somehow became beloved. On the other hand, anytime he tried to do anything else, audiences couldn't figure out why Stifler was just being Stifler. It's the classic typecasting conundrum that many actors face, so Scott turned to a perfectly logical solution: voice-over work. He's got 4 Ice Age movies under his belt, as well as the video game tie-ins that go along with them. They are by far his most successful post-American Pie films, and their low visibility status dovetails nicely into his preference for staying out of the spotlight. Never being one to excessively party or chase fame, Scott checked into a 30-day rehab stint in 2011 for still vaguely unspecific reasons. Maybe he's trying to work out some personal issues, or maybe he prefers to quietly stack cash without having to tiptoe around the tabloid game. Either way, his Hollywood hiatus actually seems to be on his terms. Tobey Maguire. Everyone likes to point directly at Tobey Maguire's cringeworthy turn as emo Peter Parker in Spider-Man 3 and say that whatever that was is what killed his career. While that's a fair assessment of that truly awkward performance, it's not the whole story. According to Spider-Man director Sam Raimi's 2013 Vulture interview, Sony was more than willing to give him and Maguire a chance at redemption. It just took Raimi too long to get a script together for Spider-Man 4. The delay, combined with Maguire turning 35-year production, would begin caused Sony to pivot to what eventually became the Amazing Spider-Man 2012 reboot, starring Andrew Garfield. By this time, Maguire had already started producing films, and with critical darlings like 25th Hour 2002 and Seabiscuit 2003 as credits, that seemed like a natural move for him. Unfortunately, his follow-up producing efforts, Rock of Ages 2012 and Sacrifice 2014 and The Fifth Wave 2016, all fell way short of earning money. He also suffered a bit of a public image crisis when he was implicated in, and ultimately paid a settlement for his involvement in, an illegal poker club. As of this writing, he's only got 1 TV movie in production on his IMDb page, so either he's decided to focus on family, he is married with 2 children, or Hollywood has no more interest in anting up for another Maguire move. Vince Vaughn. After the success of Old School 2003 and Wedding Crashers 2005, Vince Vaughn seemed keenly aware of where his appeal came from, so he essentially just repeated his cocksure, quickest guy in the room character. Unfortunately, Hollywood thought this persona would connect no matter what genre he was placed in, and Vaughn's formerly reliable performances were underserved by the dismal and predictable writing of romantic comedies like For Christmases 2008 and Couples Retreat 2009. Vaughn went back to the Dubrow formula with The Internship 2013, Delivery Man 2013, and Unfinished Business 2015, but it was too late. The shine had rubbed off. Then came the disastrous second season of True Detective 2015. Even if Vaughn could have managed to pull off a career 180 with an effective dramatic turn, which he clearly did not, it would not have saved that series from careening off the rails so badly that HBO wants to revamp it entirely, according to IndieWire. At this point, Vaughn is too old to return to the sophomoric well from whence he came, so he's left eyeballing another rebranding of himself. For what it's worth, even if Vaughn and Owen Wilson are 70 years old before they finally agree to do that Funeral Crashers spin-off, we'll still pay good money to see it. Jay Moore. Although he showed plenty of promise in the 90s thanks to a bit part on Saturday Night Live and a breakthrough performance in Jerry Maguire, Moore's career in recent years has been more miss than hit. Despite critical raves and a cult following, his first attempt at becoming a sitcom star flopped when the Fox comedy Action 1999 tanked in the ratings. His second attempt, Gary and Married to 00810, lasted 2 seasons, but also received the kind of reviews that would kill any actor's TV career today. He found slightly better luck as a host, which has resulted in stints on Last Comic Standing to 00306, and more recently, Jay Moore Sports, which likely takes up much of his time. But even that path has had some bumps along the way, including a deal with Disney that ostensibly got cancelled. If that wasn't enough, Moore's personal life has been a bit of a mess, to say the least. In July 2016, he filed for divorce from his actress wife, Nikki Cox, and asked for an emergency petition for full custody of their son after alleging that Cox suffered from depression and self-medicated. Although he dropped the petition just 6 days later, Moore filed for divorce again in 2016. It later took another nasty turn, with more allegations of drug use.
Carmen Rebecca and Andy Scott.
Back in this, you couldn't go to a party or lunch with coworkers without someone declaring that Dane Cook was the funniest dude on the planet. Those days are long gone. What happened? Well, for starters, his big attempt at becoming a big movie star was a big old flop, thanks to a string of critically panned comedies that included the Razzie-nominated Employee of the Month 2006 and Good Luck Chuck 2007. His dramatic films didn't fare all that better either. Mr. Brooks 2007 came and went without much fanfare, while his sci-fi passion project 400 Days 2016 earned just $58 overseas. He also claimed at one point that he was auditioning to star in Captain America 2011, which obviously didn't pan out. Cook later tried to go the route of television, which blew up in his face after NBC cancelled his show before it even aired. Meanwhile, Cook's career as a stand-up comedian took a turn for the worse, including multiple accusations of joke theft, shade from fellow comedians, weakening comedy album sales, and controversial jokes that got him in a whole lot of trouble. Jim Carrey. Back in his heyday, Jim Carrey was the undisputed king of the box office. Films like The Mask 1994, Dumb and Dumber 1994, and Liar Liar 1997 regularly pulled in more than $100 million. By 2000, he had landed the biggest hit in Hollywood that year. Of course, a lot can change over time, thanks to low-key comedies such as Mr. Popper's Penguins 2011 and The Incredible Burt Wonderstone 2013. Carrey's hold on the box office has significantly softened. In recent years, his celebrity status has also taken a hit following the suicide of his ex-girlfriend, Catriona White, which spawned an ugly legal battle with no clear end in sight. Matthew Fox. Since Lost, Got Lost in 2010, Matthew Fox's Hollywood career has taken a nosedive, for reasons both professionally and personally. On the professional side, his movie career never quite took off. Alex Cross 2012 was a huge flop, while his role in World War Z 2013 was mostly left on the editing floor. On the personal side, Fox has been battling nasty headlines, including allegations that he hit a female bus driver, allegations from the former Lost co-star that he beats women, both of which he vehemently denied, and a due arrest. If that wasn't enough, Fox also hinted to Men's Fitness in 2012 that he may give up acting. "If I don't get quality opportunities, you probably won't see much of me. I'll probably be doing something else," he said. John Cusack. Truth be told, John Cusack has been steadily working in recent years. It's just that a lot of his films haven't caught on the way they used to. While he reportedly made 17 movies between 2012 and 2016, a good chunk of those titles went straight to DVD or VOD. Don't act like you actually saw The Factory in 2012 or The Carrier in 2014. Even his higher quality movies, such as Love & Mercy 2015, failed to ignite passion in Hollywood despite brief Oscar buzz for co-star Elizabeth Banks. Of course, if this were 15 years ago, Cusick would be able to fall back on the occasional rom-com, like he did to moderate success in Serendipity 2001 and Must Love Dogs 2005. But now that he's in his 50s, that tried and true formula in flicks such as Say Anything 1989 and High Fidelity 2000 is starting to feel, well, old. On the bright side, Cusick has kept busy with a number of passion projects, including writing a book about an essay whistleblower Edward Snowden and co-founding the Freedom of the Press Foundation. Jessica Alba. Having a crummy resume can make it difficult to land a job anywhere, especially in Hollywood. Take Jessica Alba, for example, who racked up 5 Razzie nominations and 1 win in her mostly disappointing career, thanks to flops such as Fantastic Four 2005, Awake 2007, and The Eye 2008. She later tried to place some of the blame on bad scripts and first-time directors, but when high-profile publications such as the New York Times start referring to your acting as acted, surely that's not a screenwriter's fault. Still, the experience of working on bad movies seems to have weighed heavily on Alba. In 2010, she admitted to Elle magazine via Vulture that she almost quit acting after a director told her to cry pretty. She's also admitted she really stopped acting at 27 and has said in recent interviews that acting isn't really her top priority. Indeed, much of Alba's focus has shifted to raising her children. She announced in August 2017 that she's expecting a third. She also runs her consumer goods brand The Honest Company. Unfortunately, despite being valued at more than $1 billion in 2015, Alba's Honest brand has taken a hit over the years thanks to numerous lawsuits over its products. One particular class action lawsuit over ingredients featured in its laundry detergent, dish soap, and multi-purpose cleaner resulted in a $1.55 million settlement. Sarah Michelle Gellar. Pigeonholed after the success of Buffy the Vampire Slayer 1997-2003, Gellar was often relegated to horror flicks when she made the transition to the big screen, some of which were ripped to shreds by critics. Her non-horror movies also flopped, most famously the 1999 sci-fi romantic comedy Simply Irresistible and that seriously awful Scooby-Doo 2002 movie. Even her attempts at a TV comeback failed. Ring 2011 was cancelled after 1 season, as was the CBS comedy The Crazy Ones 2013-14, despite starring the late Robin Williams. But it hasn't been all bad for Gellar. She's found a lot of success as a voice-over actor and launched a cooking and lifestyle brand called Foodstars. She's also the proud mother of 2 kids, whom she had with actor-husband Freddie Prinze Jr. Billy Zane. Playing the villain in what was then the biggest movie of all time proved to be difficult for Billy Zane, who spent years trying to convince audiences that he isn't always the snooty British guy who taunts Kate Winslet just as the Titanic 1997 is about to sink. Unfortunately, Zane hasn't had all that much luck accomplishing that goal. Instead, he starred in a whole string of movies you've probably never heard of. His roles on certain television shows have been a bit more high profile, but even those haven't stayed on the air long enough to keep his career afloat. Freeform cancelled Guild 2016 after just 1 season. Tom Welling. When you star on a television show for 10 years, as Tom Welling did on Smallville 2001-11, odds are you're going to get exhausted by the end of your run. It should come with little surprise that after the hit WB series ended, Welling took a self-imposed break from Hollywood. It probably shouldn't surprise you, either, that his return to Hollywood has been incredibly limited, fueled in part by being more selective in the roles that he wants to play. At the time of this writing, he has starred in just 3 movies since Smallville went off the air in 2011, all of which came and went without much fanfare. In recent years, Welling made a few attempts at returning to the small screen. CBS declined to pick up a pilot starring Welling as a CIA Black Ops agent. On the bright side, recent reports say he'll join the 3rd season of the Fox drama Lucifer in fall 2017. Who knows? Maybe this could be his gig for the next 10 years. Christopher Mintz-Plasse. Much like Billy Zane, Christopher Mintz-Plasse has had a tough time escaping the role that made him a star, the nerdy Fogel in the 2007 comedy Superbad. Sure, that sleeper hit led to multiple roles for Mintz-Plasse, including gigs in Role Models 2008, Kick-Ass 2010, and Pitch Perfect 2012, but many of those performances felt like a rehash of his old bag of tricks. In recent years, Mintz-Plasse has branched out to other genres, including voice-over work, music, and television, some of which have been more successful than others. He celebrated his 28th birthday in 2017, so Mintz is also growing out of his nerdy youth and into a legitimately dapper dude, which could finally help him shed his super bad image once and for all. Rob Schneider. When your filmography includes titles like Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo 1999, a sequel to Deuce Bigelow, European Gigolo 2005, and The Hot Chick 2002, the chances of you getting invited to the Academy Awards are slim to none. Indeed, Schneider's filmography is one likely to entice a studio to hire him in a Steven Spielberg film. After all, the Razzies nominated him for Worst Actor of the Decade in 2010. Schneider appears to have taken the message and has since carved out his own path in Hollywood through voiceover work and self-produced series and specials, among other things. Plus, thanks to his good pal Adam Sandler, he'll likely always have a place to land in movies even if they get, terrible and scathing reviews. Judge Reinhold. Judge Reinhold was one of Hollywood's quintessential that guy. Actors in the 80s with memorable roles in hits such as Fast Times at Ridgemont High 1982 and Beverly Hills Cop 1984. These days, people might not remember that guy at all. In the last 15 years or so, his only notable roles were a cameo on Arrested Development 2003 and a stint on the short-lived TV series The O'Keeffes 2003, which got the plug after 1 month on the air. Other projects, including a TV reboot of Beverly Hills Cop and a sitcom by Judd Apatow, never made it to air. To make matters worse, Reinhold was charged with disorderly conduct after an altercation with SA agents at Dallas Love Field Airport in December 2016. He later admitted to being just embarrassed by the incident, according to Page 6, which, by the way, referred to him as the guy from 80s movies like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which sort of proves our point. If there's a glimmer of hope, Reinhold may finally be able to capitalize on Hollywood's current obsession with nostalgia. In June 2016, Variety reported that the long-awaited sequel Beverly Hills Cop 5 had landed 2 directors, breathing life into a project that has been delayed for seemingly ever. Brendan Fraser. Both Monkey Bone 2001 and Looney Tunes Back in Action 2003 had the potential to nail shut the coffin on Brendan Fraser's career, but thanks to the Mummy trilogy 1999 to 2008 taking almost 10 years to complete, his lingering star power kept him limping along. Then, in 2010, Fraser couldn't even pull off a movie co-starring Harrison Ford. Extreme Measures 1996 premiered right alongside Furry Vengeance 2010, the movie that solidified Fraser's seemingly unending commitment to insane movies starring animated creatures. During the Mummy years, he was somehow landing roles in award-winning films like Gods and Monsters 1998 and The Quiet American 2002, but instead of elevating his game, his weaknesses as an actor were amplified alongside the brilliant performances of co-stars such as Ian McKellen, Lynn Redgrave, and Michael Caine. Fraser did have a chance to turn this all around by starring in the sequel to the wildly successful Journey to the Center of the Earth 2008, but out of loyalty to the original film's director, he passed, according to Deadline. From then on, it's been low-budget, low-profile stuff like 2013's harebrained thinly veiled rip-off of Back to School 1986 crossed with The Odd Couple 1968. Then, finally, there was that awkward golden blonde clap, which circulated around the internet faster than a cat on rollerblades video. For an actor, becoming a meme is rarely a good thing. Just ask Tom Cruise about Oprah's couch. Taylor Lautner. As a principal player in the massively successful The Twilight Saga 2008 to 2012, Taylor Lautner was poised for superstardom. But unlike his co-stars Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson, who immediately began branching out from the teen vampire drama, Lautner coasted on the success of the franchise, logging only a small bit part in Valentine's Day 2010, while he made his money playing Jacob. When it was time for Lautner's leading man turn, the combination of typecasting, his lackluster acting abilities, and his overestimated value spelled disaster. His first star vehicle, Abduction 2011, was a critical and commercial bomb. Tracer's 2015 didn't do much better. After that, his asking price for future roles, a reported $7.05 to $10 million per picture, seemed laughably high. Lautner has, however, found some success within the comedy genre. He attracted good reviews with the BBC series Cuckoo 2014 to 2016, and he's become a member of Adam Sandler's crew with roles in Grown Ups 22013 and The Ridiculous 6 2015. Those won't put him in Oscar contention, but they are fan favorites. Even if Lautner's never going to become a critical darling, he still has a chance to be on a winning team. Hugh Grant. Though one might think his downfall was triggered by his infamous scandal of 1995, the one where he was caught with a prostitute in his car off of the Sunset Strip, Hugh Grant went on to mile-high fame afterward. The smash romantic hits Notting Hill 1999, Love Actually 2001, and Bridget Jones's Diary 2003 all featured Grant as a leading man. Perhaps it was all that massive success within the same genre that sparked Hugh Grant overkill. Speaking with The Telegraph in 2014, Grant said he was over rom-coms. Nowadays I pretty much turn everything down anyway because I just feel too old, certainly for romantic comedy and certainly for show business sick in general. Occasionally, they wheel me out, he said. When he has been wheeled out as of late, it hasn't been all that great. There were big, blockbuster expectations for both Cloud Atlas 2012 and The Man from UNCLE 2015, yet both underperformed at the box office. Not to mention, Grant's personal life has been pretty busy between 2011 and 2015. He fathered 4 children among 2 women. According to the Daily Mail, 2 of the children are only 3 months apart, meaning both of Grant's baby mamas were pregnant at the same time. Say whatever you want about his film career, but it appears this guy may have been too busy to even make it to a movie set.